Hi everyone, this is Scott aka ZZ Edmonds on the forums, and I'd like to do an installation overview and review for you of the Kewlmetal fat fork tubes and fork protectors. Let's start with taking a look at what you get. First off, we have the upper fat fork tubes. Next, we'll take a look at the lower fat fork tubes. Look the same from the outside, but the inside's a little bit different. And we have the lower fork protectors. Of course, the fat fork tubes come with a full set of instructions. This requires just simple hand tools. You will need a 16mm or a 5/8 hex drive for a socket, as well as a tube of clear RTV silicone. I'll be installing these on my 2010 Cross Country. Keep in mind you'll have to elevate the bike with a jack or a lift to be able to remove the forks from the triple trees. We'll start by removing the front fender as well as the brake calipers, and next we'll need that 16mm or 5/8 hex socket to remove the front axle and wheel. Well, now that we have all that out of the way, we can take a look at the triple trees, and you'll loosen the triple tree bolts. The three of them are shown here. And if you have any difficulty getting the fork loose when you attempt to rotate that out of the triple trees, you can use a small screwdriver in the slots of the triple tree to be able to expand it very slightly to take the pressure off of the fork, and it'll slip right out of the triple tree. Okay, we've got one fork removed, and you want to take a clean cloth and make sure you remove any dirt or oil from the outside of the body of the fork before we begin the installation. Next, you'll want to make sure and locate the larger O-rings versus the smaller O-rings. We'll be using the larger O-ring first. First, start by installing the larger O-ring on the lower fork tube. Next, you'll slide the lower tube over the fork with the stepped part of it on the bottom and put pressure on it until it becomes seated over the O-ring. You'll know it's seated properly when the bottom of the tube lines up with the black seal on the bottom of the fork. Next, slide the small O-ring over the top of the fork, resting on top of the lower fork tube. Next, we'll take the upper fork tubes and place a thin layer of silicone, about a 1/2 inch wide bead across the top of the tube, preparing it for the installation on the fork. Next, you hold the upper tube in place between the triple trees and slide the fork in through the openings. Now keep in mind you can use that little trick with a screwdriver to expand that little slot, taking the pressure off of the triple trees, and the fork tubes will slide in quite easily. Well, we're halfway done. This is a good picture to show you the difference between the new fork tube and the old fork tube, and chrome is always better in my book. And we'll repeat the process and complete the other side and take a look at the last step. Last but not least, we install the lower fork guards by installing the 2 supplied bolts on the inside of the fender struts. Well, after bolting the fender and the calipers and everything back up, we're looking like a cross country all over again, with much more bling. I'd like to give you a little bit of a recap and review after completing the installation on my cross country. And as far as fit and finish and the quality of the chrome, it's absolutely top notch, just what I would expect from Joe at Kewlmetal. The instructions are very well put together, simple to understand. As far from a technical perspective, it was actually pretty easy to do. If there was any portion of this I was a little intimidated by, it was removing the forks in their entirety from the triple trees. But as long as you have the means of safely getting your bike up off the ground with a lift or a jack, I would not hesitate about taking this on if you consider yourself kind of an average, having average mechanical ability. I think it really improves the stance of the bike. And of course, chrome is always better in my book. Sorry, 8-ball owners, but if you have an affinity for black, I know Joe does offer these in a black powder-coated finish as well. So If you need any more information, go hit the Kewlmetal website and take a look around and join myself and Joe and be cool out there.